guys, it's Tmika. So I tried to film at Aldi's, but the security guard kept following me around. But I wanted to show you guys just some really cool deals that you could get on a budget and really make something really good. So I had posted on Instagram a few days ago this baked macaroni meal that I had made, and a couple people had wanted the, you know, how to make it or the recipe. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that now. You can always substitute the cheeses and things that I use. I just figure Aldi's is such a low cost store that you can experiment with different type of cheeses, but you can always substitute for like the normal cheese that we all, you know, use for macaroni. So anyway, I wish I could have taken you guys along on my shopping journey. That would have been like a little fun trip, but the silver lining is we're gonna make some awesome baked shrimp macaroni and the family's gonna love it. It's gonna be easy, so go ahead and check out this tutorial. So the first thing we want to do is prep our garlic. Now my family loves garlic, so I try to incorporate that as much as I can into my meals. So for this particular recipe, we're going to do it two ways. We're going to mince one head and add it to some butter for the shrimp, and then we're going to roast one. So you'll need one head of garlic, some extra virgin olive oil or EVOO, some aluminum foil, and then you'll need a measuring utensil. You're going to need a teaspoon. So all you're going to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and I'm just going to cut off just like the top. And I have like the roughest knife right now. Hold on a second. Just gonna take off the tops of this garlic. I'm gonna leave all this stuff on. Try to peel off just, you know, whatever you can, like do a rough peel, but you want to leave them intact. So you just want to see this. All right. Then you want to take a little piece. Oh, that smells so good. That smells so good. Take a little piece of aluminum foil. Okay. And then you want to just pour 1 teaspoon over the top. Just kind of drizzle it over the top of the garlic. Okay. And all you want to do now, wrap this up into a circle, ball. That's it. You want to put this on a baking sheet and roast it in the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is to go ahead and grab a couple heads off of this garlic. You're going to be mincing this. You can also use minced garlic, like just from a jar that's already prepared for you as well. And I've tried those too. They work if you don't want to do, you know, fresh garlic. And then also if you check your freezer and some of like the big box stores, you'll find them already cubed and frozen. So those work well as too. They're a little bit more pricey when you can just do it yourself. But if you're in a pinch and you don't got time to do this, go ahead and grab that. So what you want to do is go ahead and clean your garlic, and depending on, you know, how much you like the garlic is how many that you chop. If you just want a little bit, just do a couple heads. If you want a lot, then, you know, do as much as you want. So all you have to do is just take off like a little bit of the tip at the top and the bottom. You guys know how to do that. And peel off the skin. I'm gonna do just these two. That should be enough. Got to do the bottom and the bottom of this one. So I'll go ahead and peel off this outer skin. And let's not be difficult. Always want to be difficult when you're right at the end. All right. So I'm going to wrap up the rest of this garlic in a sandwich bag, and we'll come back and we'll mince those. All right, here we are. I've chosen to use, let's see, 4, 8, 8.5. This is going to go by fast. I mean, it's not really a whole lot of garlic, but like I said, use as much as you want. And then I always just take the flat side of my knife and then take the palm of my hand and give it like a quick smash. Then once you do that, everything's all flat. Okay, there we go. And then you just finely chop it. Rough chop, and just keep going over it over and over and over till you get a nice mince. So that's what you should look like. You want to just get it minced down to, you know, as small as possible, because again, it's going in your dish. So you don't want anybody to take big chunks of garlic. So let's move on to the next step. All right, the next thing you want to do is grab your macaroni noodles. So, or pasta noodles. Whatever you want to use. I'm using elbow pasta. So whatever your preferred noodle is, then grab that, and then you want to cook it according to the al dente directions on the package. So that's what I'm going to do. This is a pound. I'm only going to use probably a half a pound. So I'm going to make my put my noodles on so that they can be ready to go. Again, you want to cook these al dente. Okay, now it's time to chop and shred our cheese. You can use whatever cheese you like. I'm using a mixture, so I get my cheeses from Aldi. They have a variety of different kinds of cheeses that I like, and I am a cheese connoisseur. I love cheese. So I'm using this smoked cheddar, and then there's a smoked Gouda that I'm using, but I already have some left, so I'm gonna use that from my previous macaroni. And then I'm using the rest of this was sharp cheddar. It's time for me to take the noodles out. Hold on. Sidebar, the noodles are done. You want to go ahead and, not steam, what am I trying to say? Strain them so that they don't continue the cooking process. So go ahead and strain them. Now let's get to our cheeses. Okay, so now that we're done with that, what I like to do is, depending on how much noodles you're cooking, how much, you know, how much, I'm just gonna take this edge off because I just have it on just in case. Depending on how much noodles you use is how much cheese you want to gauge. So I'll put down below how much cheese I'm using for what I said I was going to use, so you guys can, you know, do it how I'm doing it. All right, this is about 2 ounces of cheese. So what I'm going to do is cut off. This knife is super sharp, so I'm just trying to be very careful. I'm going to cut off just a little piece, and then I'm going to cut it into chunks, because this is what I'm going to use at the end to just use as chunks in the macaroni. So I just cut these in little dices. We're going to set those off to the side, and then we're going to shred this. And then I'm going to do the same thing to my Gouda. Cut off a little piece. That's good. Cut off a little sliver. And then I'm just going to cut it in cubes, because I want to poke these at the top of my macaroni, so it'll be like extra cheesy goodness poking out the top. And then I'm going to cut a little bit of this cheddar, probably about that much. What's ready now? Oh, the garlic. They won't let me do a video. Hold on. Okay, so the garlic is out. And let me show you what it should look like. Oh, that smells so good. Look at that. And then look, so soft. Oh, I love it. So we're gonna move that, wrap that back up, move that off to the side. All right, should be done beeping for now. So I'm gonna use, I cut up some of this smoked cheddar. This is about 3 ounces. So I'm gonna cut off the edge here, take this off, and then again I'm gonna dice this up. Yeah, these cheeses are really good. I love Aldi's for that. Really nice selections. All right, so we want to take this off, and you can add more or less cheese if you like. So a lot of times I just gauge off of what I see, and then I'll add more. Okay, so I'm just gonna take my humongous thing here. Somebody was saying something. I had made something and I used like the tiniest little strainer. And somebody was like, girl, you need to get you a bigger one, shredder. So yeah, I went back and got another one because they were right. I was just being lazy. And this is so much easier because it stands on its own. I don't have to worry about holding it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shred that. And I'm just gonna keep going. So I'm gonna do this and I'll be back. So this is what my cheese pile looks like. Lots of cheese. I went back and added some more. I'm gonna tell you how much all this, how many ounces all of these are. Okay, the shredded is about 9 ounces and the cubed is about 3 ounces. So just so you can have an idea of how much cheese I'm using for mine. And I'll let you know down below if I use any more. All right, so I'm gonna take you over to the stove and we're gonna make our quick sauce. All right, so before we start the sauce, we need to get the garlic pods out of here that we roasted. And if you did it right, which you should, because it's super easy, these things just squeeze right out with little to no pressure, and they smell so delicious. So squeeze those out, and now we can get ready for the sauce. All right, you want to turn your fire on to medium heat. And then I added a little bit of butter. Now I will go back because I'm not a measuring person. So that's why it's a little bit difficult to tell you how much I'm doing right now. I go back, I taste, I add, you know that. But the final everything will be down below. So right now I'm just basically showing you the steps. So add your butter. But all of I'm measuring as I go. I'm writing it down so you can have the exact measurements that I'm using. So yeah, put some butter in your pan so we can add our garlic. All right, I added all but 4 cloves of the roasted garlic, and I'm just adding about a tablespoon or teaspoon of the fresh chopped garlic. And I'm gonna turn my fire down a little bit to low. And I'm just gonna stir this around. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing in here. Yeah. Oh, it smells so good. It's so aromatic. So I'm just gonna let that just sit maybe a minute or two. Not very long. Okay. So that's sitting in there. It's been about a minute. I'm adding some half and half. You can use milk if you like. So that's where we are about there. Give that a turn. I just want this to be at a light simmer, not too much. I'm gonna add some salt. I'm gonna add some pepper. Some garlic powder, some onion powder, and a couple shakes of parsley. I'm also gonna add some of my garlic parsley finishing salts. I'll put the tutorial for that down below in the description box. And then we wanna bring this to a simmer. All right, I got my sauce cooking, so it's over there simmering. So really quick, I want to grab my shrimp. I'm using a medium shrimp. It's been peeled and deveined. The tail is off. It's raw. And I'm just going to strain this over the sink in some cold water and just make sure it has really been peeled and deveined. Clean them up, and then we're gonna go put them on the heat. Just tap them on the heat really, really quick. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll be right back. All right, have my fire on low to medium heat, so it's set at about 4, 3.5, 4 with a max of 6. And then I'm just gonna wait until this coats the bottom of my pan a little bit. I don't want it to be really hot. That's because I really want the garlic to seep. I'm gonna put the 4 cloves of the roasted garlic that I had left. Kind of mash that in a little bit, and then the rest of the chopped garlic, the minced garlic that we chopped fresh earlier. So I just kind of want this flavor to infuse in this butter, and then I'm going to add my shrimp once that gets to where I want it to be. So this will sit for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Meanwhile, I'm going to add all of the shredded cheese to the pot with the sauce in it. So I'm going to let that melt just a little bit. I have it still set on a low to medium temperature. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to this mixture because butter burns quick, and we really want the shrimp to cook before the butter starts burning. So I just added just about 1 teaspoon of olive oil. Then I'm going to start laying my shrimp down. It's really just going to be in there. It's already starting to turn pink. I don't want it to like fully cook. I'm going to flip it. It's only been, literally, this is real time. It's only been in there a few seconds. And they look beautiful. Flipping to the other side. They're starting to turn pink. You know they're getting done. I want all this flavor to be infused. And I don't want to see any gray shrimp. So I'm going to go back and check on this sauce real quick. All right. My cheese is melted over here. I'm actually just going to turn this all the way off. Make sure everything is scraped from the bottom. So at this point, you want to give it just a little taste. Just to make sure it's seasoned how you like it. That tastes so good. All right. My shrimp is done. I'm turning that off. See? They look really good. They can sit off the heat in that sauce really quick while I get the macaroni together. All right, couple things I want to show you really quick. My daughter, Kyla, my youngest one, actually likes crunchy potato chips on her macaroni. So I'm just going to take this bag. It's about 1 ounce. And I'm going to, so I wanted to share this with you because if you want just to add a little crunch to your macaroni, you can do this. So I'm literally just crunching up these chips quite finely. You can do this in the bag and pour it in if you like. I don't want any big chunks because I'm putting them in small dishes for individual servings. So that's about how we want it. Then I have about a half a teaspoon of melted butter. Not a half a teaspoon. About a teaspoon of melted butter. Just depends on how much chips you have. Now we're gonna grab this. I'm gonna zoom out some. Okay, I have just the mixing bowl, and I'm gonna grab the al dente macaroni or noodles, and I'm gonna start adding it. So I'm putting it in the measuring cup so that I can know how much that I'm telling you that I'm using. So far. So I have my sauce here. This is how that should look. Look how creamy that is. It's so flavorful. So if you didn't add, you know, your extra salts or whatever you want to add to it, at this point you want to go ahead and do that. So we're going to add it to the noodles. Just pour a little bit at a time, just to make sure you know how much you want covered. You don't want this to be a droopy noodle. I just add a little bit more noodle. I want it to be damp. I don't want it, again, to be droopy. Okay. That's good enough. Now, if you want to add a little bit more sauce or a little bit more noodles, a little bit less noodles, do that. Just keep playing with it. You have enough sauce. That's good. All right, you can put your macaroni in a small casserole dish like this one. I got this from Aldi's. It came in a set of 2 a while ago. Really, really nice, and it's great for serving. What I'm going to do is put mine in these small little ramekins. These came from Michael's, and they were less than $2 a piece. So that's what I'm going to do. I did grease the sides of and the bottoms of my ramekin with a little bit of this country crock spread. So you can use spray oil or whatever. You just want to make sure you spray your container. And I'm just going to scoop the macaroni noodles in here halfway, or just a little bit in each container. The next thing I'm going to do is just stick my shrimp in the dishes. So I'm going to put, I mean, for this amount, I'll put like 3 or 4 in here. And then I have it I'm just adding, I mean, what else I'm gonna say? I have it in a bowl over here off to the side. So it was sitting in those garlic juices while it was waiting. So yeah, just kind of, I like to place mine, literally place them on there because I like them to peek out. Now you can chop up your shrimp as well, but I'm gonna leave mine whole this time. Sometimes I chop it up if I don't have enough. All right, so I'm gonna just do 4. And then what I wanna do is add the cheeses. See, this is gonna make it so that it's so, whoops, I don't have much of the sharp cheese because I like the color of it. So I'm gonna make sure every one of these gets that golden cheese color. And then I'm just gonna stuff the rest of these in there. Now there's enough cheese, there's enough seasoning. This is just that extra added ooze of cheese. The smoked Gouda. I know before I've used Gruyere cheese. Yeah, I just want to make sure that it gets its fair share. That you can feel free to add a little bit more of your sauce if you want. You can also fry up some bacon and put that on here if you want the crunch. All right, so for my daughters, I'm just gonna add the chip to hers. All right, you wanna go ahead and hopefully you didn't turn off your oven. I don't know if I mentioned that, but you wanna put these in the oven on a baking dish and bake them. The time will be down below. All right, guys, this is how they came out. I forgot to mention that you need to cover these in foil when you put them in the oven about halfway through the cooking process. And then the other half, you know, take it off. You want those cheeses and that sauce to melt and cook before browning the top of the macaroni. So yeah, that's it. I ended up having extra, look, I just got this out the oven, so I'm gonna have to just move this with some utensils. I ended up adding the extra macaroni that I had left into another casserole dish, a smaller one. This was the other set to the Aldi's one that I was telling you about earlier. Added the rest of the shrimp in there. So that's gonna be yummy. I'm gonna give that to the bigger kids when I see them. And then yeah, this is just some ooey gooey yumminess. So I want to taste this so bad, but I'm gonna have to wait until it cools off. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. My mouth is watering. I'm just gonna get like a little piece. Oh my. That is so good. That smoke, oh my gosh, you can taste that smoked Gouda. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. And this is the shrimp. It's so hot. Look at that. Yummy. Anyway, try this, guys, at home, and like the video if you like it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.